Hello everyone, Rurikhan here coming at you with another episode of the Kast. I do realize that the May update has been delayed quite a bit because usually I've been doing Casts at the start of each month, but I've had a couple of things happen recently which have delayed this particular Cast, so I do have to apologize for that, but I'll get into that in a couple of minutes. Let's get started with the shoutout section. As per usual, I always like to start Cast with the shoutout of the with a shout out to the people who are actively supporting me. So let's get to it, shall we? So for starters, we have a couple of Patreon news, and I would like to give a shout out to Kent Taylor, Daniel Fletcher, Andrew Velasco, Jason Hall, and Jamie Turvo. All of these people have either upped their backing. Actually, the first four people that I've mentioned, Kent Taylor, Daniel Fletcher, Andrew Velasco, and Jason Hall, have upped their backing, thus basically increasing their support for the cause, so to speak. So thank you very much for that. And then Jamie Turvo is a new Patreon supporter. So thank you very much for joining the community in that aspect and for helping basically make all of the stuff that I do on YouTube possible. Thank you very much. Then we have two people that have just done two donations. Two people that have donated to the cause, which are Stephen Jones and Simon Karlstrom. I probably butchered his name, but thank you very much for donating to the cause. That is very kind of you. And then we have a couple of people that have donated some games. We have Pedro Cabo, who donated Sanctum 2. We have Lexical Segment, who actually donated Dark Souls 2 before I received the official key from Namco. So I was wondering, like, oh, is there going to be a key? Maybe I have to accept this. And then eventually I got the official key, and I told Lexical, look, you want this back? Because, like, I actually have an official key. And he's like, no, man, just keep it, give it to someone or something, and keep doing what you're doing. I was like, well, thank you very much, Lexical. I'll be sure to maybe try and sort out some kind of a giveaway or something along those lines. And then we also received Dead Island Epidemic from Draconian. So thank you very much to all of you guys who were mentioned in this particular section. You guys are essentially the people that are really, are some of the people that are really supporting the show. So thank you very much for that. Now, as I've said, this particular show has been delayed, and that was mostly due to some personal issues that I have been dealing with over the past couple of weeks. Now, I don't really want to discuss these personal issues because even though I'm usually pretty open about a lot of stuff, there are some things that I feel should remain personal. So I'm sorry, I'm not going to be talking too much about that. Not going to be talking about what happened in regards to that. I just want to assure you guys that I'm fine in terms of health and all that stuff. At least I think I'm fine. And that's pretty much all I really want to say about that. Now, having said that, these personal issues might have affected my mood for the past couple of days. So if you guys saw a video where it seemed like I was a little bit down, or you guys might still see a couple of videos where maybe you notice that, like, oh, it doesn't really sound like himself all that much. It's like, yeah, I'm sorry. The other alternative is just not record videos. But, you know, I kind of, it's also my outlet. You know, recording videos is also an outlet, is also a way to keep my mind busy. Something that I've also been doing as I've been dealing with these personal issues is I've actually taken a couple of odd jobs to help out my father with some stuff that he's doing, basically something like TI consulting and TI work, which is something I hadn't done in quite some time. And it's always good to sort of like brush off some of your skills, even if you don't usually have them on your day-to-day as you work. But it's always good to brush off something that, and I think I might be using that verb wrong, brush off. What I'm trying to say is refresh some skills that you've had in the past and like put those to use again, unrust them. So, I don't know, freshen up on those basically. And I freshened up a little bit on my TI, and it was pretty interesting. And I still have some more stuff that I need to do in regards to that particular field, but you guys are probably sick of hearing me talk about that already. So let's talk about something else that is bumming me down a little bit, and that is the fact that I'm not going to be going to E3 this year. Yeah, it kind of sucks. I've been really trying to basically scrounge up every single possible way that I could to get to E3, but at the end of the day, the fact of the matter is I can afford to go to E3, but this year it's just too much of an expense. Like, I could go, but it's just too much money. It's just too much money, and there's not enough return on investment on a trip to E3, which is something that I learned last year. Now, here's the thing: there has been return in other forms other than monetary from my trip to E3, like in terms of networking and all that stuff. That was great. It was perfect. And going there again, I know that I would be able to improve upon that and build upon that. But the fact of the matter is, it is still really expensive. And a channel of my size, which hasn't really achieved what I consider to be critical mass, I can't risk this. I can't just like, oh, I want to go to E3 and boom, there I go. Even last year, I still had to get help from my parents in order to really support my E3 trip. For those of you that are new to the channel and don't know about the events of last year's E3, which is quite a bit of, it was almost like a drama fest in a way, but things actually turned out for the better. I would advise you guys to go back. If you're curious, that is, you can check out my E3 journey vlog or something. Just search in my channel for E3 2013. You will most likely find some stuff in regards to that. But yeah, it's definitely bumming me down, the fact that I'm not going, because there's a lot of stuff that I was curious to see. And I've been pretty much just kind of like delaying my decision, like maybe I'll still go, and then you just get to that point where it like hits you smack dab in the face, and it's like, nah, dude, it's not happening this year. Now, some of you guys might be wondering what exactly I meant by critical mass. So my channel has about 30,000 subscribers at the moment that I'm making this video. And a lot of people would say, well, that's pretty respectable. And it's like, yes, but in the grand scheme of things, and bear in mind, I'm very thankful for the fact that 30,000 people are actually subscribed to my channel. I'm incredibly thankful for that, even though I realize that a lot of those people are actually inactive accounts and stuff like that, which just happens all the time. There's also a lot of people that just subscribe and see only one or two of the things that I do. I realize that, which is what I mean when I mention critical mass. Critical mass is when a channel reaches a certain point where it is basically able to consistently generate views for pretty much everything it does. And it's not necessarily like, oh, it's when you reach 1 million subscribers. No, it's not that simple. It has to do with the type of content you produce, and there's just a million variables to it. But basically, when you achieve critical mass, you're able to kind of like predict what your income from advertisement and all that stuff is going to be at the end of the month. And me personally, I can't predict any of that stuff right now because my views are usually all over the place. And I know that a lot of people seem to have this idea that like, oh, but your Dark Souls videos are your most viewed videos. Well, if you look at the past week's history, you will notice that that is not exactly the case, as you will notice that like Transistor was able to like produce 8,000. I'm not sure if it's at 8,000. It's at 7,000 something views. And like my usual Dark Souls 2 series videos are at around 3,000 something. Bound by Flame was also able to go up to 8,000 or something. So it's not as linear as that. And I do realize that like particularly Transistor and Bound by Flame, those views were mostly generated due to the time frame in which I was able to release the video. But that's not something that I'm constantly striving for, even though it is definitely something that makes a huge difference. But I mean, you guys know me. I'm not in this just to get views. I want my videos to have a certain level of quality, a certain level of in-depth analysis, which I tend to do. And there are some people that like that. There are some people that don't like that. It's whatever. But this is the way that I'm going to keep running the channel. And it's not necessarily the most financial sound way, so to speak. But it is the way that I can keep my creativity going, that I can keep the way. It is basically the way that I like doing it. Because I think that how should I put this? If I start to ignore the way that I like doing things, and I start doing things, chasing all these metrics, chasing out the maximum number of views and the maximum number of profits that I can get and the maximum number of ads. Like for instance, currently YouTube has made it a lot easier to put ads in the middle of videos. And that is something of a philosophy that I've always had. And I'm not saying that I'm not open to doing that, to put ads in the middle of videos. But it is something that I don't like. Because it's like, here's the thing. I agree. I think that there needs to be a certain amount of entertainment that someone is going to get from a video in order to justify the fact that that person has to sit through an ad or have an ad pop up in the middle of the video. There needs to be a certain amount of entertainment that they need to get. And in my opinion, having like a certain length of an ad at the start of the video is acceptable if the video has an acceptable length. Like I don't support what some people do, which is like a lot of people actually just directly post trailers and monetize those. And trailers are essentially, what are they really? Trailers are an advertisement, right? Trailer is an advertisement. I make a trailer for something, I'm advertising for that thing. You see a trailer for the Spider-Man movie, the Thor movie, whatever, a movie, and that is essentially an ad. So sometimes you will like see an ad before you see another ad, and that doesn't make a lot of sense to me, and I think it doesn't make a lot of sense to a lot of people. And that is that is essentially the reason why it's like I don't like having ads in the middle of a video, because like I feel that someone has already paid if they watch the ad at the start. I feel like, okay, you've paid your way into this video, so to speak. I mean, you didn't actually pay anything. You watched a little ad, but I don't like interrupting the experience. That's basically the point that I'm getting at. I don't like interrupting someone's viewing experience because I know it sucks when you're watching something and in the middle of it, boom, there comes an ad or something like that. That I don't like. Like, sure, ads at the start, ads at the finish, whatever. And I know that some people are even like, man, I don't even like ads at the start. Fuck that. I'll use ad block. And it's like, look, you're free to do whatever the hell you want to do. But if 100% of the people in the world use ad block, don't expect YouTube to survive. That's all I can really tell you. And then there's those people that are like, oh man, but aren't you doing this just for entertainment? You should do this for free. And it's like, yeah, I should. But guess what? Equipment costs money. The camera that I'm filming this video with, for instance, costs a lot of money. Now, this particular camera is actually a really old-ass camera that I stole from my father. But the microphone costs money. The computers that I'm running to record and to manipulate the audio and manipulate the video, those cost money. And those are like 3-4 years old at this point. And just people need to understand it takes money to do this at a certain professional level, which a lot of people don't. So I appreciate the people that actually watch the ads and don't use ad block, or if you feel like using ad block and maybe you're just like, oh, maybe I can support you some other way. Well, there's always Patreon. But whatever. I think I've veered off like completely off path here. But basically the fact of the matter is the channel is not generating enough revenue that allows me to do something like E3 on a consistent basis. Gamescom is a lot cheaper, a lot easier to get to, and just easier to plan. So Gamescom is definitely something that I want to look towards to. And I don't know if I had already mentioned Gamescom in this video or not, because it's the second take that I'm doing this. But yeah, hopefully I'll be able to attend Gamescom. That's something I need to work on, and we'll have to see how that works. Now, so something else that I want to work on is I want to make some short videos for community interaction. What does this mean? Now, if you guys remember, I used to have something in Kast, which was the community topic. And I stopped doing that because it wasn't really working. And the reason it wasn't working is because I wasn't doing Kast on a consistent enough basis. So like I would tell you guys to like, give me a topic that you want me to talk about in the next Kast. And like, let's say someone would say, oh, talk about the whole thing about YouTube buying Twitch, for instance. And by the time I would make the next Kast, that whole discussion would have been completely out of date and completely pointless. So what I'm trying to say is that in order for me to do videos of community interaction, they need to be like on the spot. And the way to do that is I was thinking about doing these short videos just every now and then. I'm not exactly sure what the frequency would be. It might be every day, because I mean, it would be like a short little video, just a little snippet of me talking about something. And once I did that, I would tell people, okay, now you guys can tell me what other topics you want me to tackle. And then whenever I felt like talking about something else, I would just talk about something else. These would be like, I don't know, 5 to 10 minutes, something along those lines. But mostly the idea is for community interaction, because something that you guys know, at least you guys should know, that I like to do is I like to interact with my community as much as I can. I like to reply to comments. I read all of the comments in my videos, which sometimes can mess with your head in a really bad way. But I still put myself through it because I want to have that kind of interaction with my community. And I feel that a video is even better for that. And it might even give rise to some interesting topics and stuff like that. So that is something that I'm thinking about doing. I'm still not exactly sure how I'm going to work that, but it is definitely something that I am considering. So what else we got to talk about in this Conscast? Pretty much, I wanted to talk about some games at this point, but before that, I actually would like to ask you guys something that I forgot to ask at the start of the video. Do you guys think the lighting is better? Because my wife actually bought me this like LED lighting thing that I'm trying to use, which hopefully will give you an even better view of my ugly mug, and it will improve the quality of the video, so to speak. Also, I'm thinking if I'm going to add some gameplay onto Conscasts. That's something that I've wanted to do for some time, again, because I used to have gameplay on Conscasts, then I removed it, and then I was doing different things with it, but the fact of the matter is not everyone will want to look at my ugly face all the time throughout a Conscast. So I was thinking of putting some gameplay in there just if anyone wants to watch. But I'm not sure if I'm going to do that in this one or not. It all depends on time constraints because I have a lot of stuff that needs to be recorded. So I guess that the first thing that I should be addressing in terms of video games is something that a lot of people have been asking about. Rurikhan, have you heard about Project Beast? Yeah, I heard about Project Beast. A lot of people are like, oh man, are you excited? Hype train, hype this, hype that. And it's like, you know what, guys? I've gotten to a point in my life where it is actually a little bit hard sometimes to get hyped up for something because it's like stuff comes so early. The information arrives at our doorstep so early that it is actually ridiculous. Like, I believe I've mentioned this during the BioShock Infinite initial information, where they pretty much announced the game like 2 plus years in advance. And it's like, Jesus Christ, why the hell are you announcing something that I'm only going to be able to play in like 2 years? And I realized that there's probably like a subset of people that really, really love this, that they're just sitting there, and whenever someone tells them, look, this thing is coming out and it's going to be awesome, they're like, yeah, I'm going to be excited for 2 years. Sorry. No, I want to be excited for something that's going to happen next month or something that's going to happen within this year. I don't want to be excited for something that's going to happen within the next 3 years or something. So I guess that Project Beast falls along those lines where it's like, sure, am I excited for the fact that there's another Dark Souls project already in the make? Actually, when I think about it, no, I'm not. And you guys were like, what do you mean? Are you burnt out on Dark Souls? No, it's just, I mean, Dark Souls barely came out, what, 1 month ago? I mean, Dark Souls 2, like 2 months ago, 3 tops. It's like, Jesus Christ, already another one? Is this going to turn into Call of Duty? No, I don't want that. I mean, I want to be able to miss playing Dark Souls so that I can get excited for the next Dark Souls. And I know that maybe I'm in the minority here or something, but it's like, cool your horses. Also with these leaks, these friggin' leaks of everything. Oh my God, I'm so tired of the fact that our entire industry is like run on fucking leaks. Like, do you know how many news I've heard just this week alone from friggin' Watch Dogs leaks? And I think by the time that this video comes out, Watch Dogs has probably been fully released, so this is a moot point. But the amount of leaks that came out and the amount of discussion about Watch Dogs actually has me like disgusted about this industry in general, because people have been friggin' obsessed with the resolution that the game is running at. And Jesus Christ, I'm sorry. I played Dark Souls 2 on my PlayStation at 720p with lowered graphics and all this other stuff. And guess what? It was still one of the best fucking things I played this year. And sure, the PC version looks better, but that does not make the gameplay. The experience, in my opinion, is what really matters. What is with all this friggin', oh no, it needs to run at fucking 60 frames a second or it's garbage? I mean, Jesus Christ. And I know that there's this, here's the thing. Some people are going to be saying, oh, the human eye can't even tell the difference between 30 frames and 60 frames. It's like, fuck you, that's bullshit. The human eye can tell the exact difference. Well, maybe not the exact difference. I mean, not everybody's going to be able to tell. But a gamer who plays video games is going to be instantly able to tell when something is running at 30, when something is running at 60, and above that. To be honest, I never really game above 60 frames a second. So I personally, I'm not sure if I would be able to tell. I think I would, but I'm not 100% sure because Sorry, my hardware doesn't really go above 60 for pretty much anything. And to be honest, 60 is pretty damn good to me. Now, here's the thing. I value 60 frames. Don't get this wrong. I'm not one of those guys that's like, 60 frames doesn't matter for a goddamn thing. It matters. Sure, it matters. But is it like the be all end all of a video game? No, it's not. I'm sorry. 60 frames, 30 frames, whatever. As long as it can get 30 frames, I'm pretty much happy. If it can get 60 frames, I'm ecstatic. It's going to be awesome. But I mean, just the amount of discussion about it, it sickens me. The how should I put this? How analytical people get to the nitty gritty of things. It's like, I wonder how many people discuss, how many people go online and discuss about, let's say, a certain actor in a movie, and they start discussing the length of his beard or something. Oh my God, I can't believe he went without having like a beard that was at least 1 centimeter long. Jesus Christ. You know? Jeez. I mean, I've read some articles also recently which talk about how some people in the industry, some gamers in this are actually making this industry a lot worse with the way that they talk about video games. And I have to agree to that, because I mean, some people's expectations these days is, and I've mentioned this before, some people have these expectations is like, look, every single game needs to blow me away or it's a piece of garbage. You know, and it's like, it's not like that. Is it like that for the movie theater? Does every single movie need to blow you away with this amazing original story, or it's garbage? Come on. I mean, there's somewhat of a gray area where a lot of stuff exists where it's not the best content that you can possibly have, but it's still good games to play. And I think that people need to come down from their goddamn high horses and realize this. I'm sorry, I'm a little bit frustrated because I've just kind of like segued from Project Beast into that. But yeah, I guess that whole talk about leaks has been stuck in my head for some time now. And I could talk some more about leaks, but let's not. Anyways, in regards to Project Beast, I think it's too early to start talking about Project Beast, which is one of the reasons why I didn't make a video dedicated specifically to talking about Project Beast, because to be completely honest, there's not a whole lot to talk about. There's a bunch of screenshots. That's it. I mean, as far as information goes, that's as much as I could acquire. Some people are saying, sure, there's weapons on it. And by weapons, I mean like firearms on it. Great. It's Dark Souls with blunderbusses or shotguns or whatever the hell. Hooray. It's another ranged weapon, and it's going to work just like a bow, most likely. Who knows? But at the end of the day, that's the thing. Nobody knows. What's the point of making 100 friggin' videos about Project Beast, which probably, if you look through YouTube right now, it's got to be like a trending topic or something among the Dark Souls community, despite the fact that there's almost nothing to talk about. The fact of the matter is, YouTube is currently being, I was going to say being run, but it's not really being run. YouTube is currently living off of hype, constant hype. Like, whatever generates the most clicks is what gets produced about it. It's just the way these things are. And it's not something recent. It's been going on for God knows how long. It's like, there's a trending topic, better make a video about it. Hell, better make 300 videos about it. So I'm sorry, that's the reason why I haven't made a video about Project Beast. I don't have anything to say about it because I don't know anything about it. How can I be excited for something I know almost nothing about? That's all I can really say. Now, you want to talk about something that I was excited about for a very long time, we can talk about Transistor, which is something that I've recently played, made a video on it, and let me tell you, I love Transistor. As a matter of fact, I finished the game, and I loved every single bit of it. I think it's an amazing title. I'm not sure if I'm going to go through the recursive mode all over again, but I like the fact that it's there. It makes it a much better game. And if I was someone who had more time to play video games, I would definitely go through that particular mode. But as it stands now, I have my attention divided through all these other titles. Excuse me. But I highly recommend Transistor. That is for damn sure. Whatever version you can get, PS3, PC, doesn't really matter. It's a great game on any platform, I would wager. My personal video was made on PlayStation 4, but Total Biscuit has an awesome video on it for the PC. So there's that. Definitely love Transistor. As a matter of fact, I'm even considering making another video for Transistor telling guys about the builds that I used. Because yes, you can have builds in Transistor, and it's so amazing. Studying up a build and making up a build for your Transistor character, because like, look, I want to use this skill and then put it together with this other skill and then put this passive, and it's going to be crazy. And there's this other thing, which is I saw some review videos after I made my own, because I don't like watching review videos before making mine, because I fear that sometimes might influence my take on some of the game's aspects. So usually I try to steer clear of all those, so that like all the stuff that you see is just my opinions and not necessarily the opinions of other people. But something that I've noticed on other videos and on like written reviews and stuff like that was a lot of people complaining about turn mode. Now, turn mode is a feature in Transistor where you go into this like it's almost like the game becomes turn-based, but it's not exactly like that. It's just you can queue up a bunch of actions and everything goes into slow motion. And once you execute those actions, your character does those actions like super fast. So that's turn mode. And a lot of people complained that like, you're forced into using turn mode. And it's like, I'm sorry, you're wrong. And I said this at my video. I'm just like kind of repeating myself a little bit here. But for those of you who didn't watch the Transistor video, people are wrong when they're talking about that stuff. Like you actually can play. I'm not talking about recursive mode though. I'm talking about just your first playthrough. You actually can play without using turn. As a matter of fact, I would say 90% of the battles, I've mentioned this in my social streams and stuff, 90% of the battles that I did at the latter end of the game were all in real-time mode, because the build that I made worked better in real time than with turn. Now, I would still go into turn every now and then if I felt like I needed to do something really precise, but most of the time, I would be using just straight up real time and killing crap real time. So I'm sorry. Most of you reviewers out there who are saying that you were forced into using turn, you're wrong. Rurikhan proving everyone else wrong. Hells yeah. Come at me, bro. Okay, so in regards to Dark Souls 2, what is going to be happening? Obviously, we are doing the Dwarven playthrough still. That playthrough is turning out not to be as challenging as I expected. So, I mean, I don't really expect the thing to become particularly challenging until, particularly any more challenging than it is right now, until I get to the Dark Lurker and the Ancient Dragon, which I'm not even sure if I'm going to be able to kill the Dark Lurker. Because the thing about Dark Lurker is that you don't get to practice all that much. It's like every time you go there, you have to go there with the intent to kill. You can't go there with the intent to practice because you're going to waste human effigy. And there's people that say, oh, but human effigies, you can get tons of them and whatever. It's like, there's still a pressure effect to the fact that you have to use human effigies for that boss. So anyway, that particular playthrough, I don't think is going to get that much challenging until we get to those guys, but I still am like doing exploration, fighting with the NPCs, doing all this other stuff. I mean, you guys need to understand, I'm still exploring the game myself. I realize that a lot of people have seen guides at this point, seen where all the items are that they care about, and all that stuff. Me personally, I'm still exploring it. I'm still discovering it at my own leisurely pace. So, I don't know what people expect from me these days, because I think that there's just too many people complaining, to be honest. And I'm just getting really, really tired of it. It's like, I don't want to tell people like, look, just don't friggin' watch it. But at the end of the day, that is essentially what the case is. I mean, because it's not like I'm tricking people into going and watching my videos. Usually every video has a pretty explicit description. People should get a good idea of what the video is about. And it's not like I do one video in a different way to attract more people to watch the other video. I don't do any of that stuff. So you should already know what you're expecting, or you should already expect what you're watching. So I don't understand I think that some people just complain for complaining. I'm not going to stop doing Dark Souls 2 videos. Don't think for a second that that's going to happen. That is not going to happen. But I am still taking my pace, is the point that I'm getting at. After the Dwarven playthrough, I'm not exactly sure what I'm doing or how I'm doing it. I've got a lot of ideas of stuff that I want to do, but like I've mentioned in that particular playthrough as well, fact of the matter is doing a playthrough of Dark Souls 2 is really, really long. So recording full playthroughs is maybe not the best way to showcase builds and showcase how builds work, which even though I did that a lot of times in Dark Souls 1, I mean, Dark Souls 1, you could usually go through it pretty fast and just get all the stuff that you need really fast. And Dark Souls 2, it's a much slower game, so to speak. So I'm still thinking about what's going to come after that. I'm still not exactly sure of what I'm going to do, but I'm pretty sure that by the time we finish that particular playthrough, I'll have an idea of what's coming next for you guys. Now, another title that I'm going to be bringing to the channel is going to be Soul Sacrifice Delta. I believe I've mentioned this before. I told you guys that I was going to be covering Soul Sacrifice, which was also one of the reasons why I bought the PlayStation Vita to begin with, because I wanted to show you guys more of Soul Sacrifice Delta. Today, I recorded 2 episodes. I'm not exactly sure if this video is going to come out tomorrow. Today is the 26th of May. I'm hoping that this video will be out on the 27th. That is the plan. We will have to do if I can stick to that. We will have to see if I can stick to that particular schedule. But if I do everything right, supposedly tomorrow you guys will see this video, and the day after you will see the first episode of the Soul Sacrifice Delta playthrough, which I will be starting from scratch for all those of you who didn't watch the previous Soul Sacrifice playthrough, and even those who did watch it, now you can watch it with better graphics, because we obviously are recording the thing with more quality instead of using a camera to do it. But definitely Soul Sacrifice Delta is going to be something that hopefully you will be seeing a lot more in the channel, unless I put them out and they get like 10 views and you guys say, "You suck, Rurikhan, fuck you." So I don't know. We'll have to see how that particular thing goes. Another title that I've actually been playing quite a bit of, much to my surprise, Final Fantasy XIV. I did not expect that at all, but Final Fantasy XIV has actually became my kind of like go-to game if I want to relax. In case you guys are curious, I'm in the Phoenix server, so feel free to add me or whatever. It's a European server. Feel free to add me or whatever, but I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to like run dungeons with people, because my schedule is obviously all over the place. And usually when I go to play Final Fantasy XIV, it's like, look, I just want to relax. I mean, I've even been wondering if I want to be a tank, because I'm basically right now, if you look at my character, and I actually don't have a sheet here, but if you were to look at my character, he's got like level 15 Conjurer, level 20-something Marauder, level 17 Gladiator. Like, I'm doing almost all of the classes. I mean, recently I just did level 15 Pugilist, and right now I'm working on Archer, which I thought I wanted to do a Bard, but then I was like, man, I'm not sure if I can get into all this archery stuff. So, you know, I've just been exploring all of the classes and fooling around with that, not even caring that much about doing instances, because I'm not sure if I want to be a tank. That's the thing. Because like I've said a lot of times, being a tank, a lot of people think it's all about the responsibility and all that, and it's really not. I mean, being a tank is a lot of fun. It's just I've always been a tank, and I'm not sure if that's what I want to do. I've also considered healing, but I mean, one of the roles that I've never really done has actually been DPS. So I don't know, I might even make a monk, because I mean, I really like the animations on the Pugilist. So yeah, but definitely expect to see more Final Fantasy XIV stuff on the channel, because yeah, I've been playing that quite a bit. And to end things off, I already know that there's going to be a ton of people asking me, Rurikhan, where's your Watch Dogs thing? And I'll even like check my email one last time, but yeah, I don't think that's going to happen, because unfortunately Ubisoft is one of those companies that sometimes they get me stuff, like they got me South Park. Sometimes I get stuff through Unit Lost, like Unit Lost was able to get me 2 games actually, which is just, God bless Unit Lost. Those guys are awesome. They got me Trials Fusion and Child of Light, which was awesome of them, because I wanted to actually check out both those titles. So it's like Ubisoft is one of those companies that it's not easy for me to get stuff from them for whatever reason. So it's I don't know. Most likely, I don't think Watch Dogs is going to be covered, because here's the thing that people need to understand. Like, I will buy a game that a company doesn't give me if it's a game that I'm really super excited about. Watch Dogs, I really like. How should I put this? I like what they're doing with Watch Dogs, but it's not a game that I'm particularly excited for. I would still love to make a video on it, but it's not something that I think I'm going to go out and buy because I'm not even. I've seen that there's a ton of people that's like, oh, it's the next gen game. I was more excited for Infamous than I was for Watch Dogs, if I'm to be completely honest. So it's whatever. But there will be sometimes some games that I will not be able to cover due to the fact that there are still companies that don't want to work with me. And again, it's also about that whole critical mass thing that I said at the start of the video. My videos don't always generate like the expected number of views, so some people just watch the channel. They're like, yeah, you're not really worth our time. And I know that it's cold, but that's exactly the way these things go. Which is, it's a damn shame that people are still that, how should I put it, antiquated, archaic, I don't know. But anyways, there's still a lot of titles that I still need to get through, so that's fine. It's like I got other stuff coming. Like I actually have a title that I'm pretty excited to check out because I've never been one to do 4X games. I think the last 4X game I played was actually Alpha Centauri, and I think I've told this story a bunch of times, but for those of you who've never heard it, the way that I played Alpha Centauri was like I was running these guys, which I think it was the technologically advanced race or whatever, and I made all these things and switched technology in order to get people to vote for me for world leader and all these other things, and I was doing everything right. And eventually I became world leader and I was like the #1 potency and all this other stuff. And I was like, man, I want to develop these arms things and like these weapons. And I developed like this missile called the Planet Buster. I think it was called the Planet Buster. It was like this massive nuke thing. And I was just like running around the map with it. And so I think I was pretty much allied with everyone. So at some point, I think I right click onto a base because I wanted to like stop it there so that I could refuel. And the damn thing exploded. And I was like, oh, oops. So like everybody declares war on me. Everybody hates me. And I was like, oh, you're going to be like that? Fine. I made a whole bunch of more Planet Busters and I killed everyone. So that was like one of my 4X experiences. But a friend of mine told me that I should check out this game, which is called Endless Legend. And since it's made by Amplitude Studios, who were the guys who made Dungeon of the Endless, and if you guys remember the video that I made of Dungeon of the Endless, I loved that game. I thought that game was friggin' awesome. So I was like, well, I might as well check out this title by these guys. So that is something that is going to be hitting the channel pretty soon. And I've got a couple of more things lined up. Obviously, I still want to do some more Tokiden for you guys. I also have Armored Core Verdict Day, which I haven't really made a video about. And I know that it's really old at this point. Well, not really old, but it's not as relevant as it should be. But I also still want to do like a video on Armored Core Verdict Day just to show you guys what that is like. So yeah, there's more stuff coming into the channel. Pretty much going to still have a couple of playthroughs and several first impressions. And that is pretty much what I have planned for now. Hopefully some coverage in terms of E3. Also, those short videos that I want to make. So yeah, leave me your comments, feedback, all that stuff in the comment section below. I realize this was a slightly shorter cons cast. It's also because I'm a little bit tired. And I want to go play some Final Fantasy XIV right now. So anyways, thank you very much for watching. And I will see you guys on the next one.